Lion Hearted Podcast.
What up? What up? You are now tuned into the Lionhearted Podcast where the feelings reside and only the strong survive. I'm your boy Maine, so let's get into it.
Yep. All right, today I got a special episode for y'all. But before I get started, I do want to mention that Devontae Adams finally went to the Jets because, as you know, this is a sports podcast as well, personal life, sports podcast, all type of things. But I'm not really going to talk about that in this episode, but I just want to acknowledge it because that's been big in the sports world. Is like, where is he going to go? Was he going to go to the Chiefs? Was he going to go to the Texans? Was he going to go back with Rodgers? Well, he's back with Aaron Rodgers, and after last night, trust me, they need him. So yeah, I'm gonna talk about more of that in my next episode. But for this episode, it's been an unforgettable moment that I had to realize, like, man, it's crazy. And for those that don't know, and obviously, you know, if you've been rocking with me since day one, my returning listeners on the audio, even if you've been tapping into my YouTube, I was born with a condition called cerebral palsy, CP for short. That's what they call it nowadays. But what that is basically it's basically a stroke in the brain of a baby. Like, because I was born premature, and I had just asked my mom this recently because I never knew how long. Like, I could do the dates in my head because I know what, like, her original due date was supposed to be, my original birth date was supposed to be, and I can think back. But just hearing it out loud, and my mom telling me I was born at only 31 weeks. Like, I knew I had to stay in the NICU and all that stuff for a while before I could come home. Like, I kind of knew the story, but just hearing 31 weeks and knowing, what full term is and all them type of things, like, man, I really am blessed. But see, what happened was, like I said, it's loss of oxygen to the brain because when I was born, since I was born so early, one of my lungs was not at full capacity. It wasn't fully developed. And with the lack of oxygen to the brain, what it caused was some difficulties with my physical. It's like a neurological defect. And thank God it only affected me physically because there's many instances. There's mild, severe. There's the physical aspect, which is what I deal with, and then there's also the mental aspect that you could be hit with. Sometimes some people get hit with both. Some people get hit with one. Some people get hit with both. I mean, other than the 3 screws that's loose, that's basically hereditary. Other than that, I'm good, even with all the things that I've been through. So it's all by the grace of God, in my opinion. Like, you believe what you want to believe, but that's how I see it. But I thought it was important because not only is it a milestone, and I'm gonna tell you what that milestone is in a minute, but it just got me to thinking, like, how, with it being an election year and all this, and where everybody's choosing sides, you're either right wing or left wing, Republican or Democrat, even independent, whatever party you're a part of. And then if you think back, and not comparing it wholeheartedly, but it's just an example how I saw it from my point of view of, like, back in the day, it was segregation in a sense. There was, because of the color of your skin, there was black, of course, brown, and whites, and they were separated a lot. Now, I'm gonna take you in the mind of how I think for a second. Now, imagine being a child in the born in the late 80s, raised in the 90s, and you have this disability, you have something that the doctors may kind of know, but they don't really know, so they don't know what to classify you as, they don't know what to call it, they don't know your capabilities, they just kind of give a general basis of what it could be, And so when I started school, the thing about me is, with my family, I've never been treated any different. And then you go to school and it's like, so you mean to tell me we can only be in this class? We can't go over there with those kids? Because y'all don't want us to get picked on. That's what y'all tell us. But then it's also, we might scare the kids because they're not used to what we have to deal with. To me, that was a level of segregation. I didn't understand it back then, but I understand it now. And see, the good thing about it being 2024, like, mind you, this was the 90s. Now in 2024, now they're starting to blend, you know, kids with disabilities that may have the mental faculties and mental capabilities to deal with it, such as myself, like I did, which is great. And with that being said, I also believe that teachers deserved higher pay for that reason too, because and teachers are getting younger and younger nowadays too, and so it's kind of, if you don't know how to navigate that, or if you don't have a family member or something like that, you may not know how to do it. Sometimes it takes a lot of patience. That's why I said, thank God it didn't affect me in a way of, like, no behavioral. It was just normal. If I got in trouble or if I got punished for something, it was because something I did, something I chose to do, being mischievous, and it was, I knew what I was doing, tried to get away with it, knew what I was doing, and whatever. So it wasn't I didn't know no better or nothing like that. That's why I said, with it only being physical, my case is a little bit different. It's more on the mild side, or the mild. I don't even know. I've never, because I don't like to classify. I've never been classified. I don't know what is considered. And another thing too that helped me out, and I mentioned, if you haven't had a chance to go listen to, it's the audio only, but it's my season 2. It's my first ever episode. I did it with my bro. I did it with my first best friend. Other than my dad, this was my first best friend. My boy Jaime, my boy B Raw. Go listen to his music as well, and the Field Boys. Go check him out. If it wasn't for him, because he was, and I didn't even know, mind you, like I said, we was all in the same class, so we didn't even really have concept of first grade, second grade, third grade, where they just, you dealing with this, something is like off with you or something wrong with you, you got to come over here, you got to go over here. So we was all in the same class. The only thing that made it normal for me is my big sister was the teacher's aide at the time. So that was like, she I was her little brother, so she treated me as such, like, you know what I mean. So how I was treated at home, that's how she treated me when I was at school. So, but with that being said, even with that, I had to learn how to navigate that, and luckily I had my bro to watch. And I found out later, because I didn't, like I said, we didn't know aging and all. I didn't know he was 2 years older than me. So obviously, a 2-year age gap, you're going to be a little bit more advanced. But I'm grateful for it, because that's where a lot of my competitive nature came from. It's from losing to my bro time and time again. I always like to say, he got all my blue ribbons at his house from the little meets and stuff. And I got, because I got a lot of ribbons, but I got a lot of red ones. But I know who got the blue ones, so I can sleep at night. I can still sleep at night. But he just holding them for me, though. They mine, but he just holding them for me. That's how I rationalized it in my head, like, But that's where my competitive drive came from, is watching my bro do his thing. And then I'm like, if he could do it, I could do it too. And like, again, like I said, we was basically segregated. We was away from the other school. And, we would play on our side, and we would see the other kids playing on their side. And like, hey, I want to go over there. Like, that was my mindset. Like, I want to go over there. That's more like home to me. That's me being around my neighborhood. Like, you know what I mean? My mom, my dad at the time, when he was still living, would allow me, my cousins, like growing up with all my cousins, and they jumping fences. They either putting me over the fence, or I'm finding a way to go underneath. Just the stuff that they're doing, I'm doing it too. It might take me a little while to figure it out, but one thing about me, I'm always gonna figure it out. So when I go to school, and then it's like, oh man, you gotta be separated, you gotta be different. You looked at it as different in a sense, and that's always been uncomfortable for me, because it's like nah, like, even though I'm dealing with this, like, I got it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Don't worry about it. So, and this is the beautiful thing, because like I said, in this country alone of America, we're so racially divided, even still to this day, from what they went through with the civil rights, political financial. You know what I mean? We you know, some of us try to even live beyond our means and try to portray a lifestyle just because that's the, you know, they're considered the cream of the crop and the top of the top. You know what I mean? So there's always a divide with that too. But, and I won't go as far as like, you know, allegedly when Lil Wayne said, well, not really allegedly because he said it. He, you know, it was a white cop that helped him, so he don't want to say racism don't exist. Like, I'm not gonna go that far because I have experienced some things where it's pretty much because of the color of my skin or my hair, especially with my hair. A lot of people, when they see I got dreadlocks, for those that don't know, when they see dreadlocks, even today, it's man, you get so many questions and you wonder, is there going to be a positive question or is it going to be a negative question? And you got to learn how to control your emotions around it. But I was blessed to have a teacher, y'all, and she was an older white lady, and she saw something in me. She saw something in my bro. I'm a young black kid at the time. This is an older white lady. Shout out to Miss Bowen and her family. And my bro is a young Hispanic man, or boy at the time, who became a man. And I'm thinking like, wow. See, I grew up, and shout out to my parents, shout out to his parents. I didn't grow up seeing color. I was going to Hispanic restaurants, listening to mariachi music, all from the time I was little. So I had friends of all creeds and colors and everything. So I didn't always have been able to embrace it because number one, I was in those classes. So it gave me a level of empathy that I'm like, I done been in classes with kids in wheelchairs. I done been in classes, kids with walkers. I done been classes with kids that limp like I do, like my bro do. So that don't, when I see it out, you know what I mean? It's a way to ask people for help. Cause some people, I know they're a lot like me. They don't really want you, like, don't feel sorry for me. Don't feel bad for me. Cause chances is I'm probably doing a little bit better than you. Like, you know what I'm saying? What you see is not what it is a lot of the time. That's why I like to tell people what I feel is not the same as what you see. Because it's all that I know. If I was normal, quote unquote, maybe I would feel a little bit different. Like in a bad sense. Like, you know what I mean? I don't know nothing else. So I've navigated this life the way that I've navigated it, right? And that lady saw enough in us both to like, no, they don't belong in here. So she would always take roll call. I would go to my class. My bro would go to his class. That's when I figured out that we not in the same class no more because we not the same age. We 2 years apart. Like, wow. You kind of like, damn, you really don't know until you figure it out. And so they would do that. And I, you know, did enough to where I had 2 graduations for kindergarten. We had a graduation from her class, and then I graduated with the, like I said, quote unquote, regular kids. And she encouraged my mom to put me, I don't belong in that school, basically. I don't need to be in a class like that because it's going to hold me back. Same thing with my bro. It was advised that we move on to bigger and better things. You know what I mean? Because she saw something in us that we'll be able to handle it, our personalities or whatever the case may be. If you listen to the episode and the interview that we did, I learned some things about him that I thought I knew that I did not know. But even when we wasn't around each other, always, and I never forgot, I'm like, if I'm not doing this, I know my bro doing it, so let me do it too. Like, oh, I know I'm hurting today. I'm like, I'm not finna complain because my bro's still walking these stages, performing his music and stuff. It's just like, you know, have you ever like when Kobe said it, like he chased Michael in a sense. He had Michael, his big brother, to you know, kind of guide him in a sense. That's how I felt. That's my Michael Jordan. Of course, I'm Kobe, but that's my Michael Jordan. That was my, like, you know, my version of Michael Jordan. Where it's like, boom, all right, cool. But then now we separate. Now we going now, but now I'm at the school. I'm with my cousins. First grade was kind of rocky. Didn't really, other than my cousins, didn't really have many friends. Most of my friends, that's my friends still to this day. They didn't like me at first. Trust me, I understand it. I'm a lot. I always say it. Shit, even people that's known me 20 plus years, I'm still a lot to deal with. I'm a lot to get along with. But once you got me in your corner, it's the best thing that you could have. And so, I navigated through that. I went my first couple years. Like I said, I was born with CP, so I had my walker. Then I graduated to crutches and different things. And then in 1999, they I don't want to call it an invasive surgery because I don't know if they had ever done it. I don't want to go that far, but I know my bro had it, and I'm like, if he had it, I want it too. Again, there it goes. I want it too. If it's gonna help him, it'll help me too. So again, it's the what it was is, so October. That's why it's a special moment. It's been 25 years. I was 10 years old at this point. Kind of jump forward, but I was 10 years old at this point. And so at the age of 10, I had something called a muscle. I might be saying this wrong, but to my knowledge, it's like a muscle elongation procedure. Like, so what it is like my muscles were really compound and really tight. So what it was going to do, they were going to stretch the muscles. And as I grew, it was just supposed to grow with me. And of course, through physical therapy and things like that, you strengthen the muscles, you strengthen the areas, and you move forward like that. So basically at 10, I had, and it's going to sound crazy because a lot of people may not know, I had double hip surgery, double surgery on my hamstrings, double surgery on my calves, and double surgery on my Achilles. So basically my whole lower body. This was October of 1999. So it had already snowed here and all that, the once in a blue moon, all that. So earlier in that year. But so this was the end of the year. So this was me. I think I was in the 5th grade at this point. And so, of course, having those major, my whole lower. So obviously for like 3 months, I had to be in like a lower leg body cast. And it's crazy to say it's been 25 years, but this is the dope part of the story. I had to be in a lower leg body cast with like a pillow between my legs to hold my legs in place, everything. And I could only wear like snap away pants, and it was bad. Like, you kind of feel like a baby again. Like, moments, gotta get changed and have people bathe you and different. It's just, it takes you back to that like helpless type feeling, right? So you got to deal with the physical as well as the mental, because there's a mental aspect of it. And mind you, I'm still a kid at this time. So, certain things happen as an adult. You can kind of deal with it if you need to deal with it on your own. But when you're a kid, you need that support. You know what I mean? So I'm like, dang, I had to be homeschooled. So, you know what I mean? And I said this about my nephew on Saturday, but I can equate myself to it. I can make friends with a broomstick. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I just have that type of personality, that type of aura. So being homeschooled, being away from that social interaction was tough. Like, I'm used to running, even on the walker, even on the crutches, all that. You know what I mean? All that I had going on, I was still running the neighborhood, go to my friend's house. We playing kickball at school. I would always find a way to do something. But I just remember, like, I was tired of getting braces. I was tired of, like, when you go to the doctor and you have to go every 3 to 6 months or whatever and put this mold on to mold. It was just certain things. And I'm like, if this surgery is going to help me prevent all that and not have to go through that, I didn't think it was going to make me like, oh man, I was disappointed when I woke up from the surgery and I'm not normal. I've never, and when I say this, it's going to sound crazy, I've never questioned what God blessed me with. I've never asked why. Once I understood, like, it's not hereditary, so I can't pass it down to my kids or grandkids or whatever the case may be, I'm good. That's, as long as it's just me, I'm straight. As long as don't nobody gotta deal with it, I'm good. But this is the dope part of the story, though. Like I told you, I got the same friends now that I had back then. And they're not even friends anymore. Them is my brothers. Like, you know what I mean? And, you know what I'm saying? Of course, like, I'll talk about my sisters a lot. and stuff like that. Like those are my sisters. I love my sisters to death. They, you know what I mean? They're my sisters. But then God blessed me with a crew of brothers like when I needed it the most. So I'm like, and I still got them. You know how people fall out over little petty money, girls, just like little things. And now with social media, it's even worse. Like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, not saying we agree on everything. We have our little arguments and we have our days, but we still solid. We still crew. And this is when I knew. I knew this early because October is my little bro's birthday. My little bro, Mikey. Happy birthday, little bro. Love you. And I was 10, so this was his 9th birthday. And, you know, they were just having nothing too big, having a party at the house or whatever. But he really wanted me to come to his birthday party. Mind you, I'm post-op, y'all, excuse me. I'm laid up, like I told you, full half my leg, all of my, you know, half my body, my legs full from the top of my hips down to my feet. The picture is gonna be the thumbnail because I found the picture, you know, when me and my mom was leaving the hospital, and you'll see it. You'll get to see it in the thumbnail. Before I move any further though, too, like, share, subscribe, Lionhearted Podcast. If you haven't caught up already, go listen to the audio so you can kind of get a feel of who I am and why I'm talking like this, and you know what type of stories I got. Like if you're not into sports, I got personal life journey type episodes on there too. Not only just me. Season 2, I got some dope interviews on there too. Go check those out. I mentioned my boy Jaime, my cuddy Jay West. I really want y'all to go listen to that one. That's season 2, episode 2. That'll help a lot of people. Just, you know what I mean? And you're gonna hear on there, I struggle with it a little bit because to me it's just a conversation. But again, it's my big cousin. So I'm like, some of the stuff I'm like, wow. Like I'm really amazed by it. And you can tell listening to the audio. But if you haven't had a chance, go back. It's fine. The content is there. You know, thank you for joining the YouTube. Like, share, subscribe. But go back so you can figure out who I really am before you come here. But yeah, with that being said, like I said, it was my little bro's birthday, and he wanted me to come to the birthday party. But obviously, I'm laid up. I'm in a wheelchair. I'm struggling physically because I'm like still having the spasms, and it was just like I still remember some of it very vividly. Even 25, it's crazy to say, 25 years later. But him and my other brother, his bro Tess, shout out to Fadet, they came all the way because we lived on the same block. I lived at one end, and they lived completely. You know, once you pass the stop sign, the way our neighborhood is, they lived on the opposite end, same street, but the very opposite end of from where I lived at. Mind you, we're 10, 9 and 10, 10 and 9 years old. But Bo don't want me to miss his birthday, and I don't really want to miss his birthday, but I don't really remember, but I don't know if I've been out the house other than like checkup, doctor's appointments following my operation because it was a major operation. And so obviously, you know, it's a little bit different because I'm not at school like I normally would be. I'm homeschooled, so you don't get that social interaction that is so important. You know, even homeschooling, I'm not saying it's not good because it is. There's some people that do it for safety purposes and other reasons because this world is a crazy place now. But you can't misplace that social interaction. That is very important. And it's very healthy for the mental when you have good social interaction. But like I said, this is when I knew I had brothers, and I had brothers for life. I said everybody uses the term day one. Everybody uses my squad. Everybody says all these good things, but I can say it and I can point to it, and we all live in different places. We all at different places in our lives. We all got things going on, working, and whatever the case may be. Some got children, but we still all locked in. Like, you know what I mean? And that's the best feeling in the world. They made their way. Mind you, we was children. Again, I reiterate. They made their way down the street. Like I told you, I could only wear snap away pants. So I think I had on some black Adidas with the, you know what I mean? That was the like the button ups on the side. I don't even know if I was matching or whatever the case may be, but my bros came down. They got me dressed. They wheeled me down the street. We're kids, bro. Like 9 years old, 10 years old today. These kids barely know their right foot from their left foot. We're kids, and they're like, man, they came to help me get into the wheelchair because you know me, I'm very self sufficient. So some of it and I'm not the easiest. I'm stubborn. I will say that. My brothers, all of them, my brothers, my sisters, my mom, they'll contest to it. I'm stubborn. You know what I mean? I'm a very stubborn individual especially when it comes to stuff like that. Because I got it. I ain't tripping. Like, you know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, I'll be the first to lend a helping hand, but I'm not trying to take credit for nothing. I'm not trying to take, because I know me. If I lend a helping hand, I'll never mention it again. All good deeds don't need to be mentioned, right? But everybody don't think the way that I do, and I understand that. So it gives me cause to pause at times when it's my turn to, receive a blessing or whatever. It's a little bit harder for me unless it's a blessing from God. But my bros came and got me dressed. They wheeled me down the street. I made it to the party. My bro got these laser tag joints for his birthday. We was the best team. It was me and he was pushing me around. We was running around the front yard. We had the vest on the back of the wheelchair, and he was blocking, so you couldn't really get a shot off. So we ended up winning the game because, if you look back on it, we low-key cheated. We can say we low-key cheated, Mike. But it taught me a valuable lesson, like, too. And even going through all that, like, people probably gonna hear that and be like, damn, bro, that's a lot. And that's just the beginning. If I really, really just delve deep into it, but I'm not really trying to do that because like I said, I'm working on a book as well about my life story, because I always said my life is a movie and it's gonna be a dope ass movie. But I just had to mention that because it's such a milestone, and it's something that really, like, you want to talk about loyalty, that's loyalty right there. That's true brotherhood right there. And I've been through things like, down the road, the other different things, and they all the same. They always been right there. If they ain't been there physically, they always been a phone call away. Even if we're at different points in our lives, we never lose that connection. You get what I'm saying? And I said all that to say this. Now that it's 2024, it's like, if you dealing with something, speak on it. Even as a parent, if you have a child with autism, embrace that. If you got a child with CP, embrace that. The best thing you can do is let them be them. I know sometimes out of fear we may, because we want to protect. When you become a protector and you want to protect, like, my mom will always forever be my greatest protector, but she always let me do. And my big sister, my cousin Tay, my cousin Tammy, my original babysitters, my sister Candace, you know what I mean? Like, my original babysitters, they always let me do me. You know what I mean? My sister even let me do me even when she wasn't supposed to. She probably wasn't supposed to give me so much independence at certain times. She was might have supposed to have been babysitting me, but then it's like, I trust you. You can run off with your friends or whatever the case may be, and nothing really bad happened. You know what I'm saying? So it's all for the blessing. So, and it's happy because I see it online now, and it just makes me smile. I remember one time I wasn't, because like I said, off and on I don't go as much as I used to, but I will, especially in the wintertime, because it's a little bit different on the body. Even after going through those operations and things years ago, once you go through operation, your body is never completely the same, whether it's sports related, personal, physical, whatever the case may be. So I remember one time I was in physical therapy and I seen this little girl, and she was, going through her little workout, but you could tell she had the braces. I saw myself, because I'm like, that was me as a kid. And she was trying so hard, y'all. And so it brought a smile to my face. She would fall down, she'd get back up, she'd try. And I just remember her mom just being so emotional and not really I get it. She's a mom. She want to protect her baby. She want to protect her child. And something in me was like, and this is why I don't complain, because I figured this is the blessings that God bestowed upon me. As far as that, I don't like say why me, because this is my reasoning for doing it. I went up to that lady and I go, she's going to fail, but you got to let her, because she's going to thank you for it later. If you try to coddle her, because the world is not like that. And growing up the way I did with the cousins, brothers, sisters, the friends that I got, they don't pull no punches with me. Because guess what? This world is a fucked up place. And it don't pull no punches. And I'm so glad. Maybe sometimes I seem insensitive at times. But I am so grateful that I wasn't raised in a sensitive time. To where it's like, if I fell down at school, the teacher wasn't calling my mama. The teacher wasn't texting my mama when I got a paper cut. I lived in a time where my teachers didn't even want me to go outside and play, because nobody knew. Like, I literally, when I say this, and I know it's going to sound crazy, when I went to school, when my mom did what the teacher said, put him in the school with the regular kids, quote unquote, I was the only person that I seen in elementary school that was like me. They didn't know how to deal with a kid that had a walker or crutches or whatever the case may be. I went through the normal, like, okay, you try to get picked on, and sometimes you got to stand up for yourself. You got to throw them a little bit. I got suspended a couple times because I stood up for myself, but I also been able to rise above it and not complain about it, because even after all that stuff, not only did I figure out I have my brothers for life, because that's something you never forget. Like I said, that was 25 years ago, and we still rocking. Like, you know what I mean? I tell people all the time, I've been honorary since 1996. I grew up in a household just like I grew up in mine. All the East African festivals, all the Eritrean festivals, the Greek festival, everything we used to do when we were kids, it helped shape me. That's why I said, me losing my dad at a young age, I at least had Brahane. I at least had my friends' dads to fall back on and kind of guide me through this. Like, you know what I mean? But I quickly learned that nobody can't really guide me through this life but myself. Like, you know what I mean? Because and I had to get to a point, like I said, it was a singular focus for a long time. But now I feel like I can be inspirational, and I can be a gift to not only children that's dealing with stuff, but parents that's dealing with stuff. You know what I mean? So when it's Mental Health Awareness Month, when it's autism awareness, when it's, whether it's breast cancer, whatever the case may be. I just found out recently, about a year and a half ago, we got a month. I didn't even know that. And I was like, and somebody asked me, and I was like, and I kind of felt a way about myself, because I'm like, I never took the time to know, because I was so tunnel vision. But now, over the last few years, I've been able to embrace it, and I've been able to share my story. And like I said, to hear even some of my friends be like, damn, bro, I didn't know it was like that. I didn't know it was that heavy. Like the old saying go, just because I wear it well don't mean it don't get heavy. Yeah, it get heavy. Like, it get real heavy at times, but it just is what it is, That's why I tell people all the time, don't worry about a person not texting you back. Don't worry about no person not giving you a phone call. Don't worry about a person not wanting to go out on a date. Don't worry about that type of stuff. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I tell people, the only thing that could break my heart is the loss of a loved one, because that's forever. All this other stuff is just trivial. That's how you got to kind of look at life. You know what I mean? That's how you got to kind of look at this game, this game called life. And that's how I, when I say my prayers at night, it's never, I wish I was this or I wish I was that. I can't remember exactly who it was, but I remember I know it was a female, but I think we was like in the 6th grade. And you know how they got those little surveys like, oh, if you could bring one person back, if you could this and that and the third. And they kind of answered, they're like, oh, I know what you would wish for. And I was, basically saying like, oh, I wish you didn't deal with what you deal with. And it's crazy because it sounds crazy, and I promise you, I've never said, and nobody can say they've ever heard me say, I wish I wasn't this way. I wish I didn't have cerebral palsy. I wish I didn't have. My whole thing is like, I got it, but don't lump me in with everybody else. What you see is what you get, but I got it. But don't for a second think that I'm average, because I'm far from it. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like that, and that type of confidence, it rubs people the wrong way, because I shouldn't be that way. There's no way I should be that way with all the stuff I've been through. There's no way. The world is a such place where you should be more grateful. You should be more humble. You should be more thankful. And not to say I'm not a humble person, because I am. But when I seen the true definition of that word, to think less of oneself to make those around you feel comfortable, I think not. Like, no, I'm trying to get you to my mindset. I'm not dumbing myself down for nobody. I'm not dimming my light to come to, because I've been through the trenches enough. Like I said, I always thank God for my circle, that I had the same circle, that I didn't have to, because it's hard. It would be so hard to. I see people and they don't have the relationships with their friends, and they fall out over trivial shit. I'm like, man, this life puts so much pressure on you, and it throws so much stuff at you. Like, to have that to even lean on and fall back on is such a blessing. Like, how can you not embrace that? And that's what I want people to understand. Whatever you're going through right now, just have that mindset. Hey, it could be worse. It could be a lot worse than what I'm dealing with at this present time. So that's just some of my example. There's more stuff to come, but that was just like a big moment for me, and I never forgot it. Like, I just remember, like, I had a little bit of fear, but I was a kid, obviously, so it was like that. But I was just like, and it's one thing I always remember about it too. And rest in peace to my grandmother, Edna May. I just remember her because she was a big bingo goer. Before I went into surgery, she put the bingo beads around my neck for like good luck. So that's like a memory that I always remember too. Is like my grandma, like, she basically blessing me with her bingo beads, stuff that she felt gave her good luck when she was, doing her thing. She bestowed that upon me. And we never could figure this out, because like we always say too, my grandma got a lot of grandkids. There's a lot of us. But she was always there for everybody's important, whether it was a surgery, a baby shower, or this or that. She was always there, and she was only one person, but she was always at bingo too. Like, this lady did it all. She always made a way. So that's one thing I always remember too, from that moment. But like I said, you'll see the picture in the thumbnail. If you like what I'm talking about, like, share, subscribe. If it's your first time, welcome. And I always say, even if you don't really can't get nothing from it, or you don't really like how I deliver it or whatever, maybe somebody do. So just pass it along. You don't gotta be the one. You don't gotta be the one to like it. You don't gotta be the one to follow. But you probably know somebody that can get a lot from it, or maybe you have a child that's dealing with something similar, and you don't know how to embrace that. And thank God it's an easier time, because I still wonder. My mom was 26 when she had me. She was 31 when my dad passed. So she was a widow at 31 years old with two daughters and a disabled child. Like, how she did that and was like crazy to me. So I never like man, and like I told you, still to this day, I'm stubborn, and I know sometimes it's like man, because I remember being in them doctor's offices, as a kid, they discussing things with my mom, but I'm listening. I'm very observant. So they're telling, oh, he probably won't be able to do this. He can't do this. He can't do that. I just told y'all, I came from that major operation. I made it all the way back in time for baseball season, and I got me a first place trophy, the A team, for my district for baseball. That was my first love. My sport was baseball. That was my first sport. And then I picked up a basketball a little bit later, but it was baseball first. because even though I couldn't run the fastest, I could always hit. That was my thing. I was always a power hitter, and I was blessed enough to do that, and that was like my love of sports. Because and then even that, it was like, you gonna go out for the baseball team, you gonna go out for the basketball team. It's a lot of this. Like I say it like this: before they was giving out them ESPYs just because, I was doing what I had to do. Now, I don't blame my coaches for not wanting to put a live mic in front of my face 05, 06, 07. I don't blame them because I wouldn't do it either. But you look how the universe works. I done found my way to one anyway. You know what I mean? But it all stemmed from that. If I didn't do that operation, I don't know what I would be. So, and it's crazy because you think like, okay, because I got the scars on my hamstrings, got the scars on my hips, and I got the scars down my calves, which you can really see. You would think like, okay, he only gonna wear pants. He probably don't want to show them scars. I love shorts, y'all. Like I didn't care if people. I would wear shorts. Excuse me, in January if I could. If my mom would allow it, I wouldn't care how freezing cold it was. I just like pants were whatever, but I didn't never like, oh no, they're gonna see my scars, so I'm not gonna show. I was never like that. I remember I was going to Georgia a couple months ago. I was getting off the plane, and this lady was behind me, and I was walking, and she said, "Where did you get those? What happened to your legs? Where did you get those scars from?" It took me a while to register in my brain what she was talking about, because in my mind, I'm so far removed from it. I done did so many great things in spite of that. I don't even think about it anymore because it's my normal. It's my normal. Like I always say, what you see is not what I feel. And how you feel about it is not feelings of my own. So it's nothing to get depressed about. If that's the reason why you know what I mean? I'm pretty sure it was certain kids. They didn't want to play with me because of that. That's fine. Certain people probably didn't want to date me because of that. That's fine too. But there's people out there that obviously still got my friends that I had. They don't even, like, they'll tell me all the time, bro, we don't even see you like that. We forget. Until you trip or something like that, we forget. Ain't shit wrong with you. Come on, man. Like, you got it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, even females out there, like, man, I ain't think twice about that. Like, you know what I mean? Because that was my mentality about it. I was always taught the worst a person could tell you is no. It's not the end of the world. I mean, the only thing that got control over my emotions like that would be the Lakers. Like, you know what I mean? That would really, if you want to talk about depression from sports, it would be the Lakers. But yeah. But that's just a little bit of my story. Like I said, there's going to be more to come. Shout out to my bro, Mikey. Shout out to my bro, Tess. Isaias. Like, you know, everybody that was there during that time. And if you was around that time, you remember Mama Medbrat, Papa Berhana, everybody, man. Everybody that was Big Chuck, you know, my homeboy Chuck. You know what I mean? All my, like I said, I get to give these people shout outs. Like, again, shout out to my boy Hamid, because without you, this wouldn't be me. Because when you going through something like that, you need something to look forward to. And I just hope you learn just as much as from me as I learned from you. So yeah, with that being said, like I said, like, share, subscribe to the YouTube channel and the audio podcast. But I'm going to get out of here like I always get out of here. Just because their vision is blurry, that doesn't diminish your greatness. Until next time, stay lion-hearted.